Can you guys hear anything?
Hear ye, hear ye. Everyone's muted. Got to unmute your mics.
Hello.
Commissioner
There we
here.
go.
It's been a minute. Live on the interwebs for the Homies Fantasy Football League. Year 100 for all we can track.
Let's be honest, it's year 14, right?
Year 14 as far as the records go, I think.
Should we call it year 1 AE after ESPN?
Yeah.
First year sleeper. Using sleeper this year. That's certainly something we can talk about. What did you guys like? I was 100% about it. I think I tried a sleeper league once before, and I didn't have the patience or something. I don't like change.
I second that. I don't like change either, but I was happy that we did at the end.
Yeah, I think
it has a little more beneficial, a little more fun stats, random shit that actually means nothing, but it is interesting.
That's true. I do think some of the analytics are a little hard to grasp. I think the biggest fucking benefit is no more Daniel Dopp, Matthew Berry, so-called expert, and the commercials. There's like an ad on ESPN all the time, like every
Yeah.
And it was so stupid because it was like, it's just clickbait, right? Like it was impossible not to want to hear the video about your guy, even if you knew it was going to be 20 seconds of nonsense, but then you still have to watch like a 45-second commercial for like some skincare product or whatever, and you're like, fucking A, why do I keep doing this to myself? I will say the player analysis in Sleeper, this rotoballer insight that they give you, 100% AI generated, and it's also not helpful at all. But like,
it doesn't really tell you anything.
It doesn't tell you anything other than just like a data analysis of what the player's been doing recently, which if you're paying attention to your roster and to the NFL, you already know these things. So it's still a fair trade-off. I love Sleeper. I've been using Sleeper in a dynasty league that I'm a part of since 2017. So it was nice to have everything consolidated onto one app now this year, for me at least.
So Rotoballer, the update is just a user, or is just a AI generated like news synopsis.
Yeah.
It's helpful. Yeah.
It just tells you, and I guess, ESPN has a personal touch because they actually have writers.
It's Mike Clay or whoever.
Right.
I don't give a fuck about those guys.
But I did love Sleeper, the Sleeper app. The chat function was super easy. We never used that in the ESPN league all those years. So I really enjoyed that. And the fact that like it's your chat, but it's also like the updates of what like moves people are making, which, is always just so thrilling to see the commish pick a guy up 5 minutes later, drop him.
Mm-hmm.
The next,
you forgot.
Wait for 2 days, pick them back up.
You forgot an important component of that is spending $20 of fab in the process.
That's right. Yeah, at first.
Yeah, I've never claimed to be the wizard of the waiver wire.
You'll never win that award. No.
Maybe next year. Hey, what does matter is that 3/4 of us made the playoffs.
You know what? Hold on. Before we get into what actually happened, because this is so close to the New Year's, and it's a season recap, but we can always look forward. Let's do this now. Do we have fantasy football resolutions going into next year? Like maybe Tim, yours is to be more patient on the waiver wire, or more?
No, I think I'm fine on the waiver wire. I think that my strategy is just perfect. Actually, I don't need to change anything. That'd definitely be mine for sure.
Mine I feel like has been the same thing for the last couple of years, and I still cannot get away from taking the three best available running backs with my first 3 picks. But god damn it, do you really need a top 12 wide receiver on your team? You really
have to.
We have to.
Yeah.
I've been totally converted. I'm a wide receiver guy now. I used to stockpile the running backs. I'm all about getting 2 good wide receivers.
2? You want 2?
I want 2. I made the playoffs with DeAndre Swift and fucking
Rico Dowdle. Yeah, fair.
Year.
Go ahead,
Jen.
With 2 great wide receivers, though, like there's always like the same top 5 guys you could say. Like off the top of our heads, we can name Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and them. But it's that 6
Justin
through
Jefferson wasn't
15
top 5.
is anything skill wise in real life.
Someone who took Justin Jefferson in the first round and then got burnt by that, and then the year before went Devontae Adams and got burnt by that. I will continue to maintain that running back is king. I'm going to keep to that. If you can get a pass catching running back, that's still the elite option. Yeah, it's worth taking a wide receiver in the second round, but I'm going to take an elite running back. I mean,
I do think next year we will see. This league has always been running back heavy. We always joke about it at the draft. It's a known thing. I do think this year we bucked that trend a little bit. I do think this upcoming season we are going to go back to seeing probably 8 or 9 running backs in the first round. I don't think Justin Jefferson, I don't think Jamar Chase get drafted within the top 8 this year. Coming up, I think it's going to go back to a lot of running backs, guys who fell to the second or third round this year, like James Cook or Jonathan Taylor. They'll all be top 10 guys again.
Yeah. Christian McCaffrey. He's again.
Yeah, Derrick Henry.
I think also something that I try to stay true to, and I've always stood by, is that you draft players on good teams. If you draft players that are on bad teams, or even I guess it's projections, right? Like it's projected bad teams, like the Dolphins. Like no one thought the Dolphins were going to do anything this year. Blaine drafted Devon Achane on that team, who's a good fantasy player.
I was going to say he's top 10.
Yeah, he was great.
He's a great fantasy player, but you know, you're still not you're not going to have a good season if you have a team full of losers.
It's a lot different from fantasy basketball in that sense, where it's like you can target guys on bad teams that grab a bunch of rebounds because they're always on the floor, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to get guys on bad offenses. Like I'm watching the Panthers game before we went live right here, and I'm like, Tedero McMillan looks pretty good and will probably be a stud next year. I'm like, but will the Panthers repeatedly have games where they're running 60 offensive plays? Probably not.
Yeah, I think there's just nuance to what you said there, Max, because yes, generally you want to draft players on better offenses who score more points, but that's even more true around a running back, I think, for sure, because if you have a shitty offense or a shitty team, that takes the game script away from the running back 100% of the time. So you don't want, I think Cam Scatterbo was an interesting, because the Giants were pretty shitty. They were good until they were hurt, I guess. They were like kind of surprising people earlier in the year. I'm trying to think of
Javonte Williams for the Cowboys is a great example of this, because he was still like a top 15, top 20 guy, but that team was consistently in shootouts and Dak had to throw the ball 35 times a game, where if Javonte could have been with positive game script and he's getting like 20 touches a game, he's a top 10 guy.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Collins' team. He didn't have a running back at all, and the running backs he did have were on shitty teams like Arizona or like whoever could replace Scatterbo on the Giants. But the exception, I think, is a quarterback on a shitty team, right? And even if you had it's unfortunate Garrett Wilson got hurt because he was getting a lot of garbage time fucking points in the fourth quarter as well. So especially true for running backs, but maybe not so much for definitely QB and maybe a stud wide receiver. But yeah. You guys want to get into Chun not making the playoffs for 8 years in a row? Or
I have one more question. I have one more question before we get to Chun's terrible career. Do you guys feel like the season is too long? Like, is that starting to ruin fantasy with all the injuries and the length of the regular season? Does this go on too long?
Well, you talking about fantasy too long or real life?
Well, because the season is elongated, right?
Yeah.
Like
here's the interesting thing will be is Chun, and as our insider, I expect you to know this answer. Is the NFL going to move to a 2 bye-week season within the next 2 years? You think?
Yes, probably in the next 2 to 3 years. It depends if they go to 18 games, or they'll do a 2 bye week season and make everybody play an international game.
So that'll change fantasy so much when all of a sudden you have players with 2 bye weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
I don't like
I think
that.
the NFL wants to fucking have a game played on every night of the week, right?
Or they will do a 2 bye week season where in the middle of the season there will be no football.
It's going to be a money decision, and I think who's your source, Chun? Where are you getting this?
Joe Burrow actually Joe Burrow had an interview where he was talking about 18 games being inevitable and kind of his thoughts and ideas on how it should work. And then other just kind of insiders talking about international games are becoming more and more prevalent. I think this year we had 8 or 9 games to where now they're going to say like every week there's going to be an international game and everybody's going to play at least one.
Yeah, I mean, I do think more international, but I don't think the 2-week thing, I think that's a player's dream wish. And the NFL is going to try to get around that with international games, with like Thursday night football or Friday or Saturday football, where you can kind of sneak a bye week for teams without, not playing football for a week. That's never going to happen.
But the players don't want to play Thursday.
The players don't have any fucking power, bud. Players are going to fucking play.
Something like a true commish.
Yeah, exactly.
What happens to fantasy if there's a strike?
What do you mean?
College football, baby.
Commish, what's the plan? Everyone gets their money back?
Look, I don't know what the fuck y'all are doing. I'm going to be bowling. I'm going to play pickleball. I'm going to be golfing. I'm going to be filling my time playing PUBG and all these other hobbies and shit. I'm not responsible if there's a strike. Okay.
I don't think there'll ever be a strike now in the era of DraftKings and BetMGM and everything else. There's too much outside money, more outside money than there ever has been before coming into the NFL. And that's also why I think if we do go to, I say we, like we're a part of this, but like if it becomes a 2 bye week season, I can't imagine it would just be like week 10, no football. Like that's just too much money loss for the NFL. Yeah. But I do think that it is probably inevitable to where it's an 18 game season. And then between like week 14 and week 16, you're going to have teams that have 2 bye weeks.
Yeah.
Can we acknowledge Bobby's comment before we just
love seeing Bobby in the chat?
You can't take that off before we even acknowledge it. Bobby, love that you're always tuning in. What a loyal league member.
Yeah.
And homie. Absolutely. And friend. What a day to be alive. Happy New Year, fellas. Sleeper app all the way. And then a confession. He says, I fat fingered and dropped Kittle on accident. Yeah, we figured you did that.
So. Wow. Wasn't that like a 3rd round pick or something?
Yeah, I mean, Kittle is obviously an elite tight end. Bobby, looking at him, he hasn't made the playoffs in the last 2 years. He finished 2nd in 2023, has gone 6-8 and 5-9 since then. He really needs to get his shit together. However, he did have a baby 2 years ago, so maybe that's the correlation.
Well, that doesn't speak to Chun's pattern. Let's jump into that.
Yeah, let's dive right into Chun.
I think this season was my best team in years.
I mean, Tim certainly defended you until
I agreed, Chun.
Yeah,
I absolutely agreed. I loved your draft. That was the best draft you had in a decade. You won.
The wheels fell off.
What do you think happened this year for you? You were in playoff position like around mid-season, and then what occurred?
The wide receivers did not go well. AJ Brown kind of was the downfall of my season. Bijan was nothing but consistent. Omarion Hampton getting injured. I drafted I don't even remember my other tight end, but I had Kelsey and Laporta. And so I was always running Laporta, and like I was kind of giving myself shit for drafting both of them. But Kelsey fell to me, and I think it was like the 10th or 11th round. I was like, I got to take that chance. And thank God I did, because I had Laporta went down. But yeah, Laporta, AJ Brown not scoring. Jalen Waddle was either hot or cold. There was no like 9-point game. It was always either 15 or 4.
Yeah.
And Herbert. And there was one game where I missed AJ Brown being out. Literally, it was like 30 minutes before the game. They're like, "Yeah, he's out," and I didn't catch it. And
Sounds
that's
like really
the game.
AJ Brown quite a bit. I'm curious when you drafted him.
I want to say the 4th round.
Okay.
He was
no way it would have been any later than that, just based off his ADP.
Yeah. No, but no, I mean, with the first overall pick, Bijan, I think that was a solid pick right there. I mean, there's no going past that. When we were talking about resolutions, my resolution was to continue my draft success. Let the draft fall to me. Know who I want to take, but let it come to me. Now, that can be detrimental if you look at Colin's team, who did not go very far at all. He's lost 10 or 11 weeks in a row and hadn't won a game since September.
Jesus.
I mean, yeah, Colin didn't have a great draft, but then
he let the draft fall to him, but he ended up taking, because remember, he has like the 4th pick, and he was like, I hope Jamar Chase doesn't fall to me. And then he did. And then he's like, I got to take him. And then he took another great wide receiver and another great wide receiver.
Higgins also, he had just like, yeah.
He's like,
I'm not clear how we feel about the wide receiver strategy. You think we're going to revert back to it next year? Because Colin got burnt on wide receiver strategy. I did. Chun did.
Yeah, I'm saying we won't. That was a flash in the pan thing.
Yeah.
I think this league goes back to like 8 or 9 running backs in the first round.
Yeah. Look at the leagues running the ball now. I think every team has 1,000-yard rusher.
I have a question for you, Morgan. I'm looking at the end of year waiver wire numbers here. Lewis, who historically never spends any fab, was still at 93 when the season ended. And then Bobby as well, who never spends any fab, was at 97. You're the next highest. And so when you take Bobby and Lewis out of it, because we never expect them to spend any money, you had $59 left. So 3rd most, but really I'm going to call it 1st most. Because you were still active, but you just didn't really spend a lot. What was that? What do you chalk that
I liked my team. Like I said, I thought I had a good chance and a good team. As bad as AJ Brown played, it would be dumb to drop him.
Of course.
Jordan Addison was hot and cold. Same with Jalen Waddle. Like, I didn't want to lose those guys. I did have a decent team. Now, my running backs, like Isaiah Pacheco, I picked up and ran him out a few weeks. And there probably was some better options after the games were played. But looking at the names on the waiver wire, I would take Pacheco over those guys there. Like, I thought I had a good team. I didn't need to make moves.
That's fair, because I do think there's a couple of guys, if you lose the sweepstakes, like Max gets Rico Dowdle. And I don't know how much you spent on him, Max. I don't know if you can remember off the top of your head, but like there usually only are a handful of guys at each position where if you don't get them, then they're going to stay on a team. And if you miss out, it doesn't really make sense unless you just want to spend it and like pick up your bye week defense for $10 or whatever.
Yeah.
So, okay. Just wanted to know.
Yeah. I just thought, why lose the team?
I'm looking at the transaction history for Rico. All it says is added from free agency. So
no dollar amount.
I don't think I paid anything for him.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. I mean, okay, waiver wire wizard. Can we give it to Fosberg? The trades he pulled off this year.
My trades did finally come through this year. My resolution is
one of them did.
Continue to stick to my gut, and don't get too attached to anybody. I loved BTJ last year. He was like one of the bright spots on my team. I was very excited about him.
Made you look really smart.
Yeah, I picked him up in the 2nd round this year, and just right away, I just from watching him and watching that team early on, even though that team goes on to make the playoffs and have a great year in real life, but I could tell that he was not going to be the same producer just after 4 weeks. So being able to flip him for And, I used TJ Warren, who also had a really good start of the season, but being able to flip those guys for a tier for the number 1 tight end in the league in Trent McBride, who it doesn't matter who's throwing the ball to that guy. But just not to pat myself on the back, but it's like my favorite trade I've made in years.
Well, it was the only trade you've won in years. So that was a good one to getting Trey McBride, I'd say, because the other ones, not so much. Certainly launched you in a playoff capacity. You were kind of a powerhouse number 1 seed looking like for a minute. And let's talk about how close final standings were here. We had 3 9-5 teams, 3 8-6 teams, 2 7-7 teams. That's the majority of the league is 500 or higher.
Yeah, the most parity we've seen in a long time. There was no double-digit win team, which I feel like this league always has at least one of. And then I also think it's worth noting that one of those 7-7 teams, a glass of Chardonnay, was the league leader in points for.
Yeah.
I think after week 7, there was like 9 or 7, 5, and 4 teams, and there was like 1 8-2 team or whatever. So like 2 of those teams above 500 were not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm like looking back on the records and
the 7-7. Matt was 7-7 and was in the Skunk Bowl.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just to have 8 of 12 still competitive, like in the last couple of weeks of the season. That's all you can ask for. You're welcome. Great season.
It was by far the best season I think this league's had in a long time, competitive wise, for sure.
Now we have a new skunk.
We have a new skunk and we have a new champion. So that's always fun to see too. Not the same people getting recycled and back there. Matt was facing his third
or fourth
punishment. Third punishment. And thank God.
An exclusive club.
No one wanted to see that again. Yeah, no one's ever been the 3-time skunk. We've had a back-to-back skunk, which is also kind of insane.
I think we've had 2 back-to-back skunks.
Not quite. There's a skip.
Red.
Yep. Red's the only back-to-back.
Okay.
Can I share my screen? No.
I thought Max was back-to-back too.
I think I had a year in between. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, just talking to Matt a little bit throughout the season, and then we were fortunate enough to get to spend some time with him and a couple of the other homies the other night. He saw it coming. He knew that this team was not maybe what their record showed going into the final couple of weeks of the season. But he was fortunate enough to go up against another team, Colin, the new skunk, who also knew very early on, I think, that this was going to be a down year for him.
Was Colin historically bad this year?
I would say that Colin's trend has been mostly on the up, was an upward trajectory as far as like, quote unquote, figuring it out. I think he had a couple of down years, but he win it all a couple of years ago? Or maybe was in the finals?
No, it's been a while since he won. Look, I'm trying to share my screen so I can
Hall of Records.
It won't let me do it.
I think this season, historically, losing 10 in a row is pretty bad.
Was a really bad year for him, but different from what we've come to know. Okay, let's see here.
So here's Colin. Last 3 years he done pretty good.
He had done really well.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. Sometimes I just stare at this, you know.
Roster bait.
It's just fun to look at.
Now, does this here? I have obviously this the win-loss totals only reflect the regular season. They don't reflect playoff wins and losses. Now you of course have it color-coded to show who was first, second, and last for a given year. But so like the win-loss totals only show regular season win-loss, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. Check this out. This is impressive as it is sad. It's crazy. No skunks.
Not a lot of color on.
No color. This guy likes white bread and potatoes.
Look, man, I can't be skunked.
Because you're the host? Is that why you host the draft so you can't?
No, I'm not afraid of the skunk ball. I'll take anybody on any day. I'm undefeated.
I do think that you have momentum to work on for next year. Like this was overall, you were 6-8, same record. I think your team was better than it has been in a long time.
I think I said it in the chat. I said that loser bracket Morgan is the best manager in the league.
Yeah.
Consolation bracket.
This was the first year I will say, like, there was without a doubt. I was like, I'm not going to the skunk bowl because I think I've played in the last 3 in a row.
So that's something that's different with Sleeper is that.
Yeah, I did like the buys.
Yeah, you got bye week instead, which makes I think a lot more sense than however
makes it easier to see and understand.
Yeah, so that was nice.
Is there going to be new punishments for the doctor?
You know, he is a fan of spicy food, so we really have to we got to go hard with the spice stuff.
Well, I do think that what worked well to begin this year at the draft with the punishment is not having it just be one wing, having it be 3 or 5 wings that build up the spice intake.
Okay.
There was a hot sauce he had in Laguna Beach, Mad Dog 357, fucked him up. So
that sounds
good to know.
Maybe at one point that was on the show.
Yeah, it used to be the hot ones.
Were you with him while the games are being played out for the skunk?
Oh yeah.
What was he like?
Oh, you know, he was hopeful at first when 49ers in Chicago. I think at that point he was like, oh, okay, like not so bad. And then Juwan Jennings scored a touchdown. And then he was like, oh,
that was it.
Don't really like that. And then we're a little confused on our math. I think he was down like by 25 points and he had 3 players left. But we, for some reason, thought it was 15 points, probably because we were playing a lot of cribbage. And then we were like, wait, 3, and one of them was Blake Corum, who's not like going to get much.
And who got injured that game.
Yeah, Landman, and then someone else who'd never fucking played. So it's like, dude, yeah, you're done for. So we knew it pretty much after the 49ers.
I think it was Drake London who was coming back off of an injury. And it's funny because the Falcons played really well in that game against the Rams, but he was just not featured.
Correct. Yep.
It was a huge Bijan game.
Now, looking at the games, all right, I got a question for you guys. Looking at the games on Sundays and you're scrolling on your phone, what teams did you find yourself kind of pulling for, hoping that they would get the win? Like, I'll say, like, I was always cheering for Blaine because his team was really good. He just had shit luck in getting outscored. I mean, he had, if not the most points, at least top 3 points of the league and the most points scored against him. And for the first 5 weeks, I think he was 0-5 or something, but was outscoring people.
Yeah, some other teams at the end there overtook him for most points against.
Yeah,
I was in the opposite camp of I was consistently rooting against Blaine because I knew if he makes the playoffs, his team is so dangerous.
Yeah,
because of how many points they can score.
Yeah, I'm always rooting against the commissioner.
I don't think that really. I think I was definitely rooting against Blaine because I wanted to make the playoffs. I always root against Scrappa because I'm trying to overtake that #1 win total and championship. I'm trying to get there. Always rooting against
Andy because Andy's team was such a wagon all year long. I was like, fuck, man. Like when he started losing guys to injury, and I think he was maybe one of the 8-2 teams that then lost 1 or 2 or started alternating wins and losses. I was like, okay, good. He bleeds. But then he got into the playoffs and went back to just the like 130, 130, 140 consistent scores. So it was a well-deserved win by him. I like that we're 30 minutes into this pod and we haven't really acknowledged that he's the new champ. And maybe this is what we need to say about it.
I was just going to say, I always root against Andy because he's obnoxious, but I am glad that he won. I'm glad that he's our new champion. You know, Lou, who had historically never won a championship, until a couple of years ago. And then obviously Camille, it looked like Camille was going to repeat. So Lou and Camille, the out-of-staters, had really dominated the last couple of years, and it was looking like one of them was likely to be the winner again. Andrew comes in with his obnoxious self, and he
right on cue in the chat
wins and beats Lou and sends Lou his second place. So Andrew, I talked to Camille. Camille sent the belt in the mail directly to you.
Shout out to Camille for being Johnny on the spot with that.
Well, yeah, I reminded him and texted him. He's like, yeah, I'll do it that day, which is really great. He doesn't know Andrew's last name, so he said Andy L, and I gave him your address. Hopefully it gets there.
Where'd the L come from?
I don't know. Andy L is what he said.
Okay.
Yep. And yeah. So,
I have a question.
Andrew.
I have a question. Okay, and maybe Andrew's in the chat with us right now, so he can let us know. I certainly haven't talked to the former Andy of Andy Stack. Do you think Red knows that?
Oh yeah,
that
Red.
Do you think Red knows that his former team won it this year?
No.
Do you think Van told him?
No. Yeah, not at all. Red's in Argentina. No. He's truly moved on.
We should all send congrats text to Red. Yeah, Red should get the title, not Andy. Red owns the team.
Red stole this team. All right, Red's gone.
There's Andrew saying, I don't think he has any idea. I love it.
You didn't text him as the manager or anything?
I would have loved to have known. Hey, wait. What time is it in South America right now? Can Nick Anderson be our first phone call that we try to make?
It is in the evening. It's in the evening. I'll call.
It's got to be the same time, isn't it? Just kind of like right below us, maybe an hour or two ahead.
It's no, Chun. It's a little bit further. It's like 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6.
I would love to know if and now obviously Van Camp just let us know that he did not let him know. But if the response was just like, "Oh, cool, great," but we can maybe hear that firsthand here. He's just like, "Cool, why are you calling me?
Why are you calling me?"
Yeah, well, this time it's a better reason than when he was skunk.
Who hit you guys up most for trades?
Kev.
Kev. He was scrambling.
He panicked a bit. I think, yeah. If he stands strong, down the line of the season, I think he has a better record.
And I think there was one that was either Hampton or Bijan. He was like, "What do you need or what do you want for them?" I was like, "Not giving either of them up, and the only person I want on your team is Henry, and you can't afford to give him up."
See, when Henry was fumbling a lot at the beginning of the year and Lamar was out, so the Ravens offense just was not looking good, I offered him Chase Brown, and now I think Chase Brown went on like a historic run. Yeah, as far as players who were like with their ADP and then who fell, I think at one point he'd fell to like RB 35 and then he finished the year as like RB 12 or something like that. So I know Henry had a similar path throughout the season where his second half was much better. And he had one of these performances, in week 17, along with Chase Brown, Bijan Robinson. It was so crazy. I'm watching these games thinking, there are so many guys right now who are single-handedly winning their fantasy managers championships right now, which is always cool to see in week 17.
Yeah. Well, back to Andrew real quick with the winning roster. Josh Allen, I think he took in the 3rd round. Puka Nacua. Now here is a number 1 scoring wide receiver. Who probably drafted late, not in the 1st round. I'm thinking maybe 2nd round, 3rd round, or no?
I think he got him near the turn. No, he did I think he got him with either the 1-2 turn, or like
he was a 1-2, wasn't he? Okay, so never mind.
Mm-hmm.
I know he had
but Puka will be one of those guys who next year we're talking about it'll be a return to a lot of running backs in the first round. Puka will stay in the first round, or at least like
Puka was Andrew's first round pick.
He was.
Okay. So it was 10th overall.
10th overall. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Puka has a year like he has this year again. I don't think JSN necessarily does either. JSN was a later draft pick. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Puka, Josh Allen. Who else did Andrew have that was a key to victory?
Well, let's look at the
Usually
squad.
you have to have a big three.
I know I beat him.
Once
beat him too.
It was a J.K. Dobbins. Once J.K. Dobbins went down in Denver, then R.J. Harvey really became a stud. And then Bucky Irving, it's interesting because I think it's worth noting that this was maybe the most injury-free that like the first and second rounds were in a long time for fantasy football. Like you didn't have like a season-ending injury, a torn Achilles, or an ACL for like McCaffrey or some of these other guys who have gotten hurt in the past.
Yeah.
Bucky Irving was really the only like first or second like top 15 guy at either one of his positions, I would say, that missed a significant amount of time. So for Andrew to still overcome that, pretty impressive because the rest of his squad was just kind of piecemealed together.
You know what? We're discounting Travis Etienne. Number 9.
What about Travis Hunter?
Seventh round pick.
Yeah, Florida man.
Travis Etienne was huge.
What pick did you take Travis Hunter with? Was it the 4th or 5th?
Travis Hunter? Me?
Yeah.
Well, we haven't gotten to my team yet, but
ETN was taken in the 7th round.
Yeah.
By Andrew.
Yeah.
And JSN was taken in the 4th round by Blaine.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, like, Andrew had all 3 Buccaneers running backs.
Yeah. Honestly, looking at Andrew's team, Andrew did it with a really scrappy team this year.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, Puka Nacua.
Well, you're always gonna have 1 or 2 studs, but then like when you're looking at his
Josh Allen's number 1 scoring player overall, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You're always gonna have guys like that. But here we are praising like Travis Etienne as a 7th round pick for being one of his studs. RJ Harvey, who was a later round pick, for being a stud. You know, figuring out the Bucky Irving injury and hoarding all these Tampa Bay running backs, and just kind of making it happen, and then hitting on a guy like Puka, who had Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, different wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb drafted ahead of him. So it was impressive, really, for Andrew this year. It was solid, well deserved.
He honestly, he might be the wizard. He might be the waiver wire wizard. Sean Tucker, he got for free.
After
Timm didn't have shit, dude. No one got those 30 points. Okay, I didn't get him. Nobody got him.
Also, shout out to Andrew for really utilizing one of Sleeper's more fun features, which is nicknaming your players. He gave every player a nickname. Just good vibes.
That was good. Bussy, second Bussy for Bussy.
Bussy, I'm pretty sure. Bussy.
No, it's Bussy.
I don't know
it's
what
Bussy.
the pronunciation is. It's
That's
Bussy.
how he says it.
Okay.
But he's pronouncing it wrong.
Did you guys also name your Pokemon?
Oh, change their names?
No, I didn't.
Not often. I think probably at some point.
Not a fan of that. Fantasy football players, I'm not trying to name them like Pokemon. Okay, I think it's disrespectful.
I did change Bo Nix to SEAL Team Nix. Is just, an inside joke for a few of us. Yeah.
Sure. John, you naming your boys? You naming your team?
No, 0. I was just, like I said, we had to go to the locker room. Don't fuck it up.
I love it. Awesome.
Yeah, I made the playoffs in Lose League for my 7th straight year.
No one cares about that league. Doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter. Let's talk about Travis Etienne now, or not Travis Etienne. Travis
Hunter.
That crazy pick
to do what I did this year with no 1st round pick. Truly, we want to talk about like no studs got hurt. Obviously, Travis Hunter getting hurt kind of ruined my whole strategy of having a wide receiver in my IDP spot. And what hurt so much was that it was a non-contact injury at practice coming off of a bye week when they had played a London game before. And it's so funny because this has always happened with the Jags. They historically play really well in London. Travis Hunter had like 7 catches, over 100 yards, scored his first touchdown in that game. And I thought, I got it. They've unlocked him, and I've got exactly what I wanted now coming down the stretch, which is like a 15-point weekly advantage in the IDP spot because he was still doing decent numbers on defense, like getting a couple pass deflections, a couple tackles. So it wasn't like I had totally missed on the strategy when it wasn't quote unquote working, because he was still getting like 6, 7, 8, 9 points a game if it was like a good game for him on defense with a handful of catches. But it was like a 25-point game for him. And then they go on by, and then he gets hurt. And so making the playoffs without my first round pick in this like wild strategy, it'll be interesting to see where he gets drafted next year, and especially what happens with that Jacksonville wide receiver room, because they extend Jacoby Myers after they trade for him. Brian Thomas Jr. isn't going anywhere. Parker Washington, some of these other guys, maybe BTJ goes somewhere, but like all of a sudden Brenton Strange emerges as a pass catcher. ETN gets a handful of targets every game. So what looked like a clear pathway to a lot of targets and a lot of production before Travis Hunter got hurt is now all of a sudden a really crowded receiver room and an offense that has really found their groove without him and could make a deep playoff run here. So like, how much do you want to change things with him coming back? Does he become more of a defensive player? So it'll be interesting, but yeah, I still stand by it. Now it's easy to say that when I make the playoffs in spite of him this year. But no, don't regret it.
I think with all the first round misses, you can kind of afford, and you proved it, you can afford to take a huge risk like that and just kind of like say, fuck it.
Yeah. And get depth elsewhere.
Well, just think where your team would be though, if he never got hurt and he did boom.
I know, because then what I'm talking about with like, you still need a wide receiver, blah, 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 blah. If I could have had DK Metcalf, who was consistently like a top 20 guy, but not a stud this year, and then fill in a wide receiver 2, who's more of just like a PPR person on another team, but then still having that third wide receiver in an IDP spot. I don't know. I think in IDP leagues, and depending on how Sleeper or ESPN or whatever platform you play on, depending on how they want to label him as a player, will still create a lot of intrigue in fantasy going forward. I don't think like the Travis Hunter experiment is over when it comes to being a two-way player for fantasy.
He was a rookie. He's got to beef up. He's going to get, healthy and get his endurance up, and then he'll play both. That's kind of a nice segue. You mentioned IDP.
Yeah.
I've been floating an idea out there, talking to individual league members, and I'm very, very close to making an announcement very, very soon. But we are looking at potentially removing the defense special teams and adding a designated D-line spot and a designated defensive back spot. Very, very close.
What about a linebacker spot?
There will still be the flex IDP spot where you can put any position in, and then just designated D-line, designated defensive back. Might tweak the scoring a little bit too to make sure that all 3 levels are represented evenly, but getting a lot of support, a lot of positive things around the league for this switch.
Are the D linemen going to get points for hurrying the quarterback?
QB hits.
We're looking at.
QB hits.
QB hits for 0.5.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, and then I think if you do something like that, and then for the defensive back spot, if you up like PBU, if you up a pass breakup from like 1.5, which is what it's at right now, to maybe 3 points or 2 or 3, then I think we're starting to cook with some gas here. I like it.
Yeah.
Can you make like a holding call or pass interference negative?
No, I'm not God, Chun. I know can't do that. But expect possibly a vote or an announcement, an executive order maybe coming later this year.
But we would keep now, just to be clear, while we're talking about specialty positions, you would keep kicker.
I would keep kicker, and I did have a request that someone asked that we actually in Lou's League has done this, right? They removed defensive special teams and the kicker in place of just general flex spots.
There's a super flex spot now too.
I wouldn't go super flex in this league, and I wouldn't remove the kicker. I think removing the kicker from fantasy football, it's kind of like I'm more of a traditionalist in that sense. I do my IDP stuff, but the kicker is like integral position for fantasy football. That I feel like that there's a history or something like.
I would say a game a season is won by a kicker.
I had 3 or 4 this year. I think Brandon Aubrey, scoring wise, finished the year as like RB 18 and wide receiver 20 or something like that with the amount of points he scored. And he was kicker 1 on the year, but there were other guys like I know Kaimi Fairbairn for the Texans was really solid. Jason Myers was huge. Cam Little for the Jaguars, really good. And with these new K balls, the kicking balls that they have, and for how many 60-yard kicks we saw this year, I think the kicking position in fantasy should remain because it is strategic enough to separate managers who are going to prioritize getting a good kicker in the draft. And that's what it all comes down to, is like draft strategy and managerial skills.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see a 70-yard kick probably next year.
Yeah.
You got to draft a kicker on a good team, someone with a good leg. There have been stronger legs, and I feel like there's it's almost like a new generation of kickers in the NFL. There's a lot of younger kickers coming up. Reichard from Minnesota. He was perfect on the year until he hit the cable. That happened to him twice this year, as he hit the fucking television cable, like for the
Sky
camera.
Cam cable. Yeah.
So I'm keeping kicker. But defense and special teams is I mean, unless you're getting, I feel like there's only 3 real elite positions there, and the rest is all matchup based, and it clogs up the waiver wire. People are hoarding 2 or 3 fucking defenses on their bench just to play matchups. It's like, what are we doing? I'd love to continue to spotlight individual defensive players. And that's what I'm all about. Player representation, pay the players, player rights. Want to give credit where credit's due to those defensive players who put their body on the line.
And okay, will you commit? I know you won't. Will you commit to this though on air here? If it doesn't work out, going back to just defensive and special teams positions, like say we give it 1 or 2 years and people are like, this isn't working, would you go back?
I never go back.
See, I knew the answer.
Yeah.
So if we make the switch, we switch.
Yeah.
Why can't we do a trial season?
Just once the ball rolls downhill, you can't stop it. I don't know. It's too hard.
I really love the defensive special teams position as one, because I think it is more fun to play the matchups, and like it gives you instead of like honing in, like, I don't know, my IDP didn't change all year, right? Like I got one guy, I played him all year. I like going and doing the research and trying to do the matchups and try to guess like, oh, the Giants are playing the Raiders this week. The Giants are going to score or are going to have a good defensive week.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I just think that's
take it another level down. Take it another level down. Okay, if this defense is going to have a good week because that's a poor matchup, they might get turnovers. Who on this defense is going to cause that?
Yeah, but I see what Max is saying though, because then that becomes more luck than skill. And I think there's a level of skill going into, and whether you want to call it skill or just doing your research or paying attention, but that's what we want. Like you as a commissioner, us as a league, we just want guys who are paying attention. So if you do have the foresight to go look on the waiver wire and say, wow, the Chiefs now have their 3rd string quarterback in, I'm going to pick up say you were playing week 18 this week. And you're like, the Raiders defense is just sitting there. Now, maybe you could be like, okay, so I'm just going to go get Max Crosby. But chances are, if we're in an IDP league, Crosby, I think, is already taken.
Already taken.
Is already taken. But the
so
Ravens
now you're
defense,
guessing.
Yeah. The Raiders defense is definitely still sitting there on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
Who was the top cornerback then in D lineman, Tim, this season? Who would it be?
Myles Garrett, definitely top D lineman. Corner would probably be whoever led with interceptions or tackles would be my guess.
Doesn't have to be a corner necessarily. It can be a safety.
Yeah, it could be a safety.
Safeties would be probably better. Let's look it up.
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton maybe. I'm just thinking of guys who are around the ball a lot.
Jabril Peppers.
Someone from the I wish.
Peppers doesn't even play.
He's a Steeler now.
What do you mean? He's a Steeler.
My guess would maybe be someone from the Texans. Maybe not Stingley because guys go away from him, but Kamari
Lassiter, yeah.
The top scoring defensive backs, and I have to go to a different league since we don't have this category in
Spoon.
Does this make sense? Is it true? It's not Spoon. No. Lassiter from Houston.
We're good, Chun. Fucking ball knowers.
Did you say Lassiter?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so he's
2 minutes ago.
Sorry, I was looking up how to get this.
There was an interview with D'Amico Ryans, and they're like, "Who on your team do you want getting off the bus first for the other team to see?" And he's like, "Lassiter." And they thought it would be like a D lineman or something. He's like, "No, Lassiter's a dog."
Lassiter scored almost 150 points. You have Tyson Campbell from the Browns. He scored about 140.
He was traded mid-season.
Tyke Smith is another one. Safety
what
for
team?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Never heard the guy.
Mike Jackson, Cooper DeJean, even Nick Cross. These were some of the Derwin James kind of up there. DBs are about 150. Linebackers are good ones are over 150 up to like almost 200 points a season. And then D lines are actually, there's quite a drop off after the first like 2 or 3 defensive linemen, but they're about linebacker as well. It varies. Myles Garrett had a historic season, so he was close to 200 points scored. You have Brian Burns from the New York Giants, Crosby, Hutchinson, Jeffrey Simmons from Tennessee, even you throw him in there. So
what will a QB hit be?
A QB hit, I don't know, half a point.
I think half a point's fair.
Defense is such it's not individual like offense is, right? Like offense, like players are getting the ball and making moves. Defense is such more about the unit and the cohesiveness of that unit.
It goes both ways. It's a false argument. Offense is just as much a team sport anyway.
Sure, but like
what makes it a false argument?
JSN can have an amazing game and the Seahawks can still only score like 10 points. But
that happens on defense too.
I don't
you can
know.
give up a ton of points and someone could have 20 tackles or whatever. It's just another level. It's another spotlight. Maybe, look, I'm whipping votes. So ultimately it's going to be what it's going to be, but we could keep the defense special team and just add a couple more. What if we just add 2 more?
Save the defense.
Okay, so Chun and Max are obviously negative. Scrap is on the fence.
I think. Listen, put it up for a vote. Put it up for a vote.
Yeah, I'm pro switch.
If I had
to make a decision.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to highlight a few. We'll start with this. But I want to highlight a few things, like a few individual performances throughout the year. Max, since we're on here, we're the brave souls that will answer the call when the commission puts it out. Let's talk about our first round playoff matchup. Just one of the best head-to-head matchups we've ever had in the playoffs. A combined score over 325 points, 158 to 188. Just a thrilling game to pay attention to. The guys going back and forth. putting up numbers, just a pleasure to be a part of. But then also there were so many, I feel like Sunday night and Monday night football games, IRL, that then determined games this year in fantasy, where the chat was buzzing. I think that's why we all love the chat so much this year. Because I mean, we're talking about fractional wins, half a point, 1 point, 1.5 points decided on Sunday night and Monday night. I don't have the full season in front of me here to look back and see what some of those were and to see if they actually were decided on those nights. But just anecdotally, I feel like that happened a lot this year. So really fun. Obviously, you can't predict that, but I think that's what helped make this season memorable as well, is that wins were snatched from the jaws of defeat in the waning seconds of games.
A few times.
Yeah, more than ever this year, I feel like teams were never out of it. A lot of time, and even in that playoff game that we had, like as soon as you're up, I think you were at one point, it was like 85-35
because of fucking Trevor Lawrence, baby.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence played in the morning there and was insane, and then for me to come back and get 60 points from
McBride and
Amon-Ra,
yeah,
it was just insane.
Doodle.
It was. I just think it speaks to the competitiveness of this league this year, and how, again, best year might be the best year we've had in the league. Only takes 14 years to get there, but
Tim and I threw this idea around the other day. This would be a huge switch. This completely shakes up the playoffs. You could theoretically do it for both the championship bracket and the consolation bracket, though. Here's an idea. This would guarantee that the best teams continue to move on and the worst teams continue to get closer to the Skunk Bowl. But think about this. So you have your number 1 and number 2 seeds both get buys. I hope Max can still hear me. Your number 1 and number 2 seeds both get buys in the first round. And then your 3, 4, 5, and 6 teams are not necessarily competing against anybody. You're competing against everyone, though, who is in that position. And the top 2 scoring teams that week move on. And the 2 lowest scoring teams are eliminated. You're not a head-to-head matchup.
It's no head-to-head matchup. Yeah, it's just the overall score that week.
Yeah. And then the same thing happens in the next round. The 1 and 2 seed re-enter, and you have your 2 teams that scored the most points the previous week, and you have your 1 and 2 seeds. And it's the same thing again. The top 2 scoring teams move on. And then in the championship, in the final week, then it obviously becomes a head-to-head matchup.
Is that a possible setup?
I don't know, but if it is, I think
it's work to do, huh?
If it's a possible setup, I think it's worth looking into. And
I think it's a. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think it's a fair way to look at it, and it's definitely like the most thing. But like that's fantasy football; it's luck.
And that's what I do appreciate out of it as well, is it takes a luck component out of it. I think it just hurt this year knowing, like, I was not at all like upset because I still scored 158 points, and it was just like, shout out to fucking Max for scoring 188.
Yeah.
But when I looked at the other side of the playoff bracket that week, and it's Tim versus Lewis, and Lewis moves on after scoring 109, it was just like, shoot.
It doesn't look like there's any built-in settings. We do have playoff seeding rules as a reseed, so the higher seeded teams will always play the lower seeded teams, but there's nothing that would change it to what you just described.
Yeah. That's $1 million idea, Alex, for your own fantasy football app.
See, from my thing for that, I would say if we're going to do it like that, let's include the whole league. Because what if that bottom team could sneak a win?
And the whole fucking, you wasted all the hard work.
The whole season doesn't matter then.
What you're starting to talk about though, Morgan, and this would just count for the regular season, and then the playoffs still become the playoffs, and your seeding could be whatever. But that's basically what a best ball league is.
Yeah, in daily fantasy.
Yeah, you just draft a team and you get every single point scored by your team. There is no like starting lineup and no bench.
Yeah.
you just play your whole team every week.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're starting to get away from
just a regular fantasy league.
Yeah.
I will say,
like adding 3 IDPs.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same thing.
The only thing that was a downer this year was the championship game, right? Like, and I feel like we've had stinker championship games the last couple of years where one team just blows out the other team. It's not even close.
Yeah.
You know what's actually crazy? Looking at the third place game that was played between Max and Camille, that's 125 to 124. And Andrew wins the championship by scoring 123.
123. Yeah.
So once again, like, if now, because of, going off of the situation that I proposed, it still would have been Lewis and Andrew, because in the semis, Camille and Max have down weeks, so they wouldn't have moved on. But yeah, it's but
you would have moved on, right, Alex?
True. I would have been there.
You and I would have moved on.
Yeah. I would have been there instead of Lewis.
Yeah. I think the more we talk about this, the more I'm against it.
It's interesting though, because I would have been there instead of Lewis, and then I would have beat Camille because
and if I had scored a few more points, and I would have and if we would have done this, and if I played this
points wouldn't have made it.
Alex, that really is a good twist on a new fantasy app
for playoffs.
Yeah, like this is my new fantasy football app, and this is how our playoffs are structured.
Maybe I can get AI to build it for me.
Yeah, that's a new flavor.
Let's
giving away $1 million ideas to all the viewers out there.
Luckily, no one's watching right now.
Dump it.
Andrew and Robert have probably signed out, huh?
Yeah, they sure have.
Okay, let's just go through our end of the year awards then.
All right.
And we're doing this totally on the fly. I'll nominate. See, Andrew's already been manager of the year once, but I mean, I'll nominate Max for manager of the year.
The green lights are both steady. I know, but I can't get the TV to come on.
Mary.
Mom,
live on YouTube.
The meatloaf. You're live on YouTube. Okay. Jesus Christ.
I was just nominating your son.
What's your
manager of the year?
I'm in to tell you that the Buccaneers are going to win the game.
Are going to win.
It looks like it. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 minutes left, and they have a 2-score lead.
Okay.
Must win for the Seahawks now.
I think Andy, Max, and I don't know. Andy or Max for manager of the year, maybe Camille, maybe Lou.
But I think Max did.
What about Alex? He didn't have a first round pick.
I think I have kind of a runaway case for comeback team of the year. So I'm happy just
after the skunk from last year.
Yeah, being skunk and then losing the first round draft pick, which I don't think anyone else lost their first round draft pick this year.
No.
So I think the adversity of not having the best position going into the lottery, first of all, love, again, just always going to champion us having that lottery. That's one of the coolest parts of this league, and making a whole event out of it. But having the highest odds to get the number 1 pick, getting the number 4, number 5 pick, whatever I was, and then being able to still parlay that into a decent draft position and not have that 1 or 2 overall pick and then being stuck, like having that turn way later in the draft. I think it makes a good case for comeback team of the year, because we still, make the playoffs. We have an above 500 record. The points for are definitely there. I'm above 1600, which was kind of the threshold, I think, to like really mark a good team this year. So, yeah.
And then, I mean, Camille was one I was thinking for comeback just because he was like 1-4, 1-5, and then came back with the season. But, he was the defending champ. But that's good manager of the year nomination type thing too. I'm willing to give Alex a nomination or maybe the comeback player of the year. I don't know who else could, but I feel like injury bugged is always tough to do.
It's tough to do with that's
tough to do on the fly.
It's tough to do on the spot.
Injury bug. Hampton. Laporta.
Yeah, Sean gets it again. Okay, let's just do manager of the year then. Alex, your comeback player. You made your case. I don't know who else besides Camille.
My vote.
Max is kind of comeback player of the year too. After 3-11 last year.
Yeah. I mean,
3-11 the year before that.
He made
2-12 the year before that.
Fair enough, and he did make it one round further than I did in the playoffs.
See, I'd nominate Max for manager of the year because he had a good team and he made moves that did work.
Yeah,
trades that
spent his whole waiver wire budget.
Yeah,
Dowdle getting McBride, all combination. All right, Max, I christen the manager of the year 2025.
First ever award. Thanks. I'd like to thank my mom.
Meatloaf.
How do you feel?
It's great, but the work's not done. Can't wait for the draft. I really cannot wait.
But you had. I also.
Are you going to be up here this year?
Not to interrupt your speech, but like, did you have fun? My question to you is like, it seemed like you had a lot of fun this fantasy season, which like a manager of the year candidate and eventual winner should be like, yeah, this was a really fun year.
Yeah. Kind of another reason for comeback player of the year. This guy had sold half his team away.
We can't celebrate. We can
He
celebrate.
wasn't having fun.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. I think a lot of fun came from not being up here in Washington, not being around it all the time and thinking about it all the time.
Now you're starting to piss the commish off.
What the fuck, man?
I mean, listen, once you go out of state, it becomes so much more relaxing.
Got it. Okay. Huh. Matt Legg just said this just popped up. Wait, is he in here? No. Sorry, Matt. We're about wrapping it up here. We're just honoring ourselves with Manager of the Year award and Comeback Player of the Year award, and
you can go back and watch the VOD where we talk about your skunk performance.
I haven't been this excited about a next year's draft in a long time.
There you go.
Can't wait.
Can't come soon enough.
Can't come soon enough. I'm excited about fantasy
number
football
one
again. Probably
back-to-back years.
Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey,
Puka,
JSN.
Yeah.
Keep sleeping on James Cook, please.
Trey McBride.
Amon-Ra. I want my sun god back. I'll put it out there right now.
Jahmyr Gibbs. What are we talking about? Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah. Yes, it's a good one.
Montgomery's not going to be there next year.
Yeah.
Interesting. Who else?
Hampton will be up there.
Shit, dude, I think Josh Allen's worth the first round.
Take him.
I mean, set it and forget it. This year was also the first year I ever had a set it and forget it quarterback since Peyton Manning.
Yeah. Who'd you have?
Jalen Hurts, and granted, not the most consistent guy in the world, but
you were talking about
the rushing floor.
Benching him back in like week 6 or so. You were benching this guy.
I should have played Goff for that week. Yeah.
That was one of the most painful things going against you in that playoff game. Was one, Jalen was my quarterback that same week going against the Raiders in my dynasty league, but also that was coming off of his performance where he turned the ball over like 5 times, twice on the same play. I think in some leagues scored 0 points. So we knew he was going to bounce back, and it's not like he lit the world on fire, but he did come back and have like a 25-point game and was just another one of those guys for you that week that was like above their projection. And so kudos to you for sticking it out, because I mean, Morgan knows this as a AJ Brown owner. I think Bobby would attest to this as someone who had Saquon. Like, that offense was a bit of a mess this year.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the interesting thing about fantasy football, and something that, like, I don't know if it's a resolution, but it's just something that I think we all need to remember right now is, like, if you just look at the end of the season numbers and you look at like average points per game, and if you bake that into then where their ADP should be for the next year, like, not all average points per game look the same, you know? And so, like, Saquon's a guy that I don't want any piece of once he gets to like the other side of 30. And McCaffrey's somebody who's like average points per game this year are going to be so good because he stayed healthy, right? Like, there's so many different factors that go into it. Whereas like AJ Brown really turned it around, and I'm sure he'll still be, you know, in mock drafts as like a top 15 guy next year. But Morgan, you know, this is that like he got there by having some 20-point games and some 4-point games. And so the average is going to look like, oh yeah, this is a guy who gets you 15 points a game, but it's like, that's too much of a headache when it's 20 and then it's 4 versus somebody who's just a solid 14 every week.
Yeah, no, you got to find. I mean, somebody like that, Mecca Buka was solid all year round. I think every game he had no less than
He wasn't.
10. He wasn't.
He was on
Buka,
Max.
no, he fell off real hard. Second half.
Hit that rookie wall.
Yeah, the first half of the first 9 games of the season, he was a stud, which is why I felt good to trade away Brian Thomas Jr.
But Brian Thomas Jr. didn't have that great of a season.
No, he didn't. He didn't. But I think sticking with Emeka for the whole season probably is why I didn't make it past 2 rounds of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's tough. Well, regardless, you're still manager of the year. Congratulations.
Thank you, homies.
Well done, everyone here on the podcast. Even Chun, good job. Congrats to Matt.
Chun, you always do a good job.
Thanks.
Congrats to Matt for not making us watch you do the skunk again. That's awesome.
Narrowly escaping it, yeah.
So glad that Colin is going to be the skunk. That's awesome. That's going to be so fun. And congrats to Andy for winning his first championship belt. His 3rd year officially in the league. This guy, we need to look out for him. Got to look out for this guy.
So when's Camille sending the belt to Red?
That's very good. I don't know. It's going to Andrew's house. Red, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't want nothing to do with us anymore. All right.
If Andrew goes back and listens to this or watches it, my only ask is that, and I think he'll be somebody that will do this, but like when we're playing pickleball in the middle of the summer and we're not even thinking about fantasy football, he just needs to bring the belt out. Like, now that the belt's back in state, I want to see the belt.
Bring it around.
Needs to be a lot of shit talking.
Yeah,
it's high quality.
I know he'll shit talk, but like he needs to do it with the belt in hand. I want to see the belt a lot.
Yeah. It needs to be, and he's the guy who will do that.
He's a guy who will, yeah,
because he wants us to like him and respect him, and the belt will do that.
Yeah, the belt demands respect. That's why we got it.
I think we got a Seahawks game we got to watch here pretty soon, fellas.
Getting close.
Go Hawks!
I recommend checking out. I think it's Hawks Blogger on YouTube. This guy's been. They do like a Hawk Talk podcast. Been really great. Anyways, I'm going to go start cooking dinner here for you, Max. And welcome to come over, Chun. You're watching it with Ron, right?
I'm going over to my mom's because she's got the new kitten.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. Well, go Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go Hawks. Go homies. We'll see you guys at the lottery party.